Thanks for coming over to this Amodeus. Today's Dungeon Hunter Champion video is about Snake Ladies and Ascended Raids. So what you see on the screen right now is a pretty standard free-to-play setup. You have a Timekeeper, a Boon Sister, an Archangel, the Crystal Priest, and for today's purposes we're using Lingshe, the Nature Snake Lady. Now, this is obviously Elder Drake 11, and we can break the team down a little bit and kind of explain some of the reasons why before we get into the raid itself, but we really just wanted to build a very flexible, neutral element type of team, which is actually why we went with Vimal and Lingshe, because now we don't have to worry about element for the Ascended Raids, not for a while at least, right? So I'll go through the gear in the background, but basically the role of Vimal is to skill cooldown, strip, and cleanse the team. Little heals are nice, but what I would say is Xenia is on the team as a free-to-play healer with lower defense, skill cooldown reduction. She's just a great overall unit, and she can be built super tanky so that you can survive through the Ascended Raids without a problem. Now, one of the units that are a little bit more difficult to come by is Vael'Or, the Light Archangel. Once again, free-to-play, you build him, he's a ritual summons, and you build him tanky, and he gives you a great shield, silences the team, provides haste, does some heals, does a bunch of different stuff, right? He's a great unit to have on your team, adds a tremendous amount of survivability when combined with a lot of skill cooldown reduction, which is critical, right? But he's not the only unit that benefits from that. Zircon, because his entire goal in life is to give you immunity as well as that regeneration buff, he also dramatically improves as you get more skill cooldown reduction on your team so that the immunity becomes permanent, as well as multiple stacks of regeneration, or in Vael'Or's case, it would be multiple stacks of shielding. Now, Lingshe, like I said, we chose Lingshe over the other elements. We have them all except for the dark. So we could have chosen anyone, but we went with Lingshe because if we do decide that this works out and we want to go Steel Widow 11, I don't want to have to build a water one here, a nature one there, a fire one, blah, blah, blah. Nobody wants to invest in multiple units if one will do, right? So let's look for at least element neutrality. Now, Lingshe is really easy to build because she ascends into accuracy, which is great. So I was able to go tanky, HP, defense, HP, and then just accuracy and attack substats, split pretty evenly, but she has great gear on her because I really want her to be successful in the run. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and jump over and jump into the run right here and actually kind of talk through exactly what's going on in the raid itself, because I think that's pretty important when we start to dissect whether or not this is a really viable unit for Steel Widow. So can you build a team like we built today to survive Steel Widow? Absolutely, 100%. This team doesn't die. It will absolutely 100% clear Steel Widow 11, and if that's your goal, then this team you should definitely build because it's very consistent all the way through about 13. On Steel Widow 13, it had a lot of trouble, and I really want to take a second and pull back on that. So one of the things about this team that I do not like is how slow it is, and it is slow because Lingshe really doesn't do a lot of damage. Now, if you looked at her stats, she is only level 50, she's not max skilled, but she does have over 1,000 attack, right? And that's going to be great for ongoing damage, and she applies a mark, so that should be helping everybody out. But I mean, we're just past that first series of waves at 1 minute. That just, in all honesty, if you are moving from a pre-fight ED10 team into the Ascended Raids with Lingshe, then this is just heartbreaking. Nobody really wants to do that. So I think while you can do it, I think that the investment that it takes to get her 6 stars, get her like max gear out, get her really built up to be able to do everything, it's just not a super great investment mid game. So I really got to say no on can they. It's entirely possible for them to get through a couple of them because I think the Snake Ladies really are an early to mid game unit. They are not a late mid game to end game unit, really, based on how much OGD they do. And you'll see right here, the max number of stacks she's able to put up is 3. So she is dramatically different than the siege towers. And we knew there was a little bit of difference, right? The dev said there was a little bit of a buff for the siege towers that the rest of the OGD units didn't get. But this is not a little buff. This is pretty dramatic, and it really makes the unit tough to recommend for ascended raids. Early game, fantastic. Mid game, you know, I start to question, like, maybe let's look at some of the other units you've pulled, right? Maybe you don't have any Nat 5s. Like me, hey, maybe you just didn't have any Nat 5 by the time you got to ED11. That's fine. This is a great unit to build, right? But if you don't, like, let's look at some of your other Nat 4s. Let's look at some other stuff, because the problem with the Snake Ladies is that you can build them durable, but even built durable, they're still very susceptible to being beaten up in comparison to other Nat 4s that you might have access to. So I got to give this one a thumbs down. I love the Snake Ladies early and like midway through mid game, but after late mid game, oh man, I just don't see them being super viable. Now, from a free to play standpoint, if you just want the achievement of having gotten through Steel Widow 11, absolutely. If you want to get through an achievement, like a personal achievement that you did, Elder Drake 11, great. She'll absolutely do that. But the investment, like, really peters out after that, because you're putting so much effort into the rest of the units just to keep her alive, when there are better direct damage dealers like Zircon and Rhoda and Wink and Peppermint and all. I mean, seriously, like, she is a perfect example of when it's best to transition to direct damage or crit rate, crit damage teams, because at 4 minutes you're not going to run this. You're going from maybe a 1 minute team, maybe a minute 30 team, to a 4.5 minute team in ascended raids, and that's just not a good recommendation to make for anybody, because I think it's a lot of wasted effort. I'll be honest, I'd really love to hear somebody that's just like killing it with Snake Ladies in the ascended raids and how their team works and what their builds are, but I just don't see it, so I would feel bad giving a recommendation that's a good late game unit. But early to mid game, fantastic. I love them. Let me know what you think in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching the videos, and have a great day. Bye.